But for football coaches, football fans, coaches, if you're like a real football-y book, this Bill Walsh one, The Score Takes Care of Itself. If you're into coaching football at any age group, I think that's one I revisit a lot from my coaching. It's basically his philosophy of we don't look about winning and losing. We focus on doing things right all the time, no matter what, and things take care of itself. It's look, there's a million. I love the Nick Saban. I have a bazillion books. I read everything. But that one's one, if you're a coach and you're really ambitious, which I think most are, it's nice to pause and reflect saying, what you got to care most about is how you decide you want to act and behave in everything you do. And success flows from there first. And forget the end. Focus on the next step, doing it as well as possibly can, and that kind of stuff.
Athletes aren't built during the season. They're built here in the off season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go.
Well, Angus, we've talked in other forms, but not this one. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on.
I remember you from the playing days. How much weight are you down from when you played?
I would say at least 80, could be 90. I don't weigh myself anymore. Periodically, if I'm visiting my mom's house, she has one of those old school scales that go around and around on the floor, and I'll check in. I somewhere around 225 now, something like that, give or take.
It's funny.
What I weighed when I was 15, 16 years old, let's put it that way.
It's funny, hey, because the offensive line is it's a group that it's the only really thing in sports where your group of players, you don't get many accolades, and you're there to protect and help everybody else get the glory and do it you're getting hit on every play. And let's be honest, you're great athletes, you work out hard, but you're also throwing a lot of calories in your body. So it's not exactly the healthiest lifestyle. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, it was a lot of fun, when you're early 20s to eat like that. But in the back end of my career, and I played till I was 37, that was one of the hardest parts of the job for me. And again, I played with linemen that were naturally 340 pounds. I wasn't, so I had to eat to get that big. And you said it's fun when you're young, but that becomes a tiresome part of the job in the end. My wife always says this. One of the things when I retired, one of the things I was most excited about was the fact that I don't have to eat right now. I don't have to. I can enjoy it if I want to, but before it was all part of the job, whether you wanted to or not, to keep that weight on so you could do your job.
My son's working out 2 times a day getting ready for a CFL camp, but like my buddy John Ryan said, he's in the gym pushing weights right when he was done football. And he's like, why am I doing this again? I don't have to go that hard. Did you have, guys want to stay active, but did you have that moment too when you were done?
Yeah, I tell people one of the hardest transitions for me leaving football, again, I played till I was 37, which is a long go. I think one of the hardest transitions was the fitness side, because I've always loved the training. I really do. I love the weight room. I'm very comfortable there. I was raised there. That's how I made myself what I could become. But I had no experience of fitness or working out or training outside of preparing for football. Since I was a young teenager, that was my introduction to it. So I didn't know anything else. And I think one of the real difficulties was transitioning to just exercising. I was always training for a season. I always knew where I was at. It was early off season. It was spring. You're outside now. Everything was building. And now it was just May, just Wednesday. You got a workout in. For what? And the training was always systemized, right? It was always built to have you ready for certain dates and times. And now it's just, you just kind of do it, and you do it to be healthy. And that was really hard for me to, honestly, Michael, it still is hard for me to wrap my head around. There's no purpose beyond just the purpose of doing it so you feel good. And that's always been a difficult transition for me for not training for any other reason than just health and fitness. That was hard for me.
So, Angus, you've mentioned 37 twice in this interview early. So is that something you hang your hat on, that you were the longevity part of your career? Is that something one of the things you're most proud of?
Yeah, I will say I don't know if goal is the right word, but I wanted to play the sport as long as I possibly could at a level that I could play. Like I wasn't someone who was going to just hang in there, but the goal, you always want to be your best, but I wanted to see how long could I really do this for? How long can I sustain my dream? How long can I hang out at the highest point and keep doing this? And yeah, I mean, by the back end, my last 3 or 4 years, you look around, you're like, no one's left from where we started. And you take pride in that. And you realize it takes 3 times the amount of effort to do what you did 10 years ago. And sure, you take pride in the fact that I'm not only willing, but I'm still able to put that in. So let's see how far we can take this.
Okay, so you're coming to Moose Jaw for the Selects Awards banquet. Zelko Stefanovic and his crew do a great job here in Saskatchewan. They've got outlets in Alberta and Manitoba too. So I'll phrase it this way. I guess what I'm at, you're going to give advice to these young guys, but what would old Angus, like Angus Reid right now, what would he tell the young Angus Reid coming up? That piece of advice that you write a letter to your younger self, I guess.
Well, if I'm telling it to myself, I already know the answer. But when I speak to these young kids, I want to make sure that this is what you really want to do, because the effort that's going to be required to maximize who you are will take everything. So make sure you love this, because there's nothing easy in life. Everything's going to be hard. So you want to choose what you love to go face that hard with. And so if this is what you want to do, go all in. And the worst thing you can do is half 3 different things and realize when you're later, I wish I put more into this. And so make sure this is what you want, and then learn what it's going to take, and bring it. Bring everything you have. And I was told this by one of my coaches a long time ago. Even if you fall short of the external goal, you'll find out who you really are. And there's very few things in this world that give you that opportunity anymore. I mean, this world is all about taking things off of risk and taking things off of that overt stress. Sports and football in particular is still an outlet where if this is what you want to do, it's one of the greatest ways young men can really find out what they're really made of and what they're capable of and how far that they can challenge themselves to go. And that, I think, is important, because when the days are done, and they will be done for you sooner or later, and whether you take it till you're older or younger, it doesn't matter, you'll have that. And not many people in this world have that anymore, knowing what they really, really, really can do to their maximum abilities. And, that's why I still love this sport. It can challenge you in levels that most things just don't.
Yeah. And I've always said this. I wish we could, especially in today's day and age, I wish we could bottle what goes on in behind a dressing room door. Black, white, Catholic, Protestant, don't believe in God, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, it doesn't matter. If it's we'll talk CFL, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you put on the uniform and you're a BC Lion, you're a Saskatchewan Rough Rider, you're a South Sask Select, and you're going to Mexico to play a game. Like, you're all pulling the rope in the same direction, or you should be in theory to be a successful team. I wish we could take that out into society.
Yeah, and you sort of do if you play the sport, because once you've been in it, you realize we're all people, and if we come together to bring our best, that's all we care about. And you know who people really are. Forget, you said what your ideologies are and what you're going to argue. Can I trust you to line up beside me and do your part and I do my part so we can have our best chance? And, sports is such a great leveling ground, but football is even better, because no other sport relies on the person beside you to have any chance of success for the play or for the game itself. And you're right, I'd love to bring that out in society, but that's why I still push for we need to keep youth football growing, because we need more people to be raised in this, so when they go into the real world, they know the measure of a person is what they bring to the table and are willing to bring to support the person beside them. And you find that out in football, that's what matters, and that's what makes this world go around on the good side of things.
I love flag football. I like it. It's a good introduction sport to the game of football. But football itself, tackle football, it's just on another level. It's just something different.
I coach flag too. My little guy is starting a flag. I think it's a great intro, and it's another great just sport to be on a team and to get out there and to run around and win and lose with people. But I agree with you. Once you get to a teenage level, you introduce tackle football. You learn about yourself on a different level than sports can. You face situations that are intimidating for you, and that's important. And you learn about, are you willing to go in or are you going to go out? Are you going to step in and hold your ground or not? And you pick that other person up that fell down, and you get picked up, and you realize everyone's going to get knocked down. It's one of the greatest things that can happen to you in football is to get that first big shot, big hit where, whoa, that kind of welcome to football. And now that's gone, and you get up or someone helps you up, and you realize, happens to everyone. Let's go bring it next time, and let's move forward. And I think you drop the fears, and then you go, let's go. Like, let's go here. And I still coach high school football, and there's nothing better than seeing a teenager at the end of a practice or a game realize they could do something that an hour ago they never would have thought possible. And it changes them as people.
I asked my son, what was your welcome to the CFL moment? And his first game was in Toronto, but he said his welcome to the CFL moment last year was they're in Calgary. I was at the game. He missed a tackle on special teams, and you're trying to stay on the roster, so he's got to get into play. So he twirls back and tries to jump on the pile to make it look like he's making a tackle. And Derek Moncrief gets off the pile and accidentally steps through his mask and breaks his nose. So Ethan's on the trainer's table, and a doctor said, I'm not going to be your friend for the next 30 seconds. Bite this towel. And they snapped the nose back in. And he said that was his welcome to the CFL moment. What was your welcome to the CFL moment? Did you have one that's vivid for you?
Yeah, well, I have two. It was my second year when I was long snapping for the Lions, and we were playing the Argos at home, and I should not have been punt snapping. I had no business being a 305-pound punt snapper. So we're not trained head on a swivel very well at all. Everything's always in front of us. And I'm realizing, this is great. Nobody's blocking me. I'm going to make the tackle. And the returner turns left, so I turn, and I get completely avalanche caved by someone that had probably been eyeing up this chubby little long snapper for probably 29 seconds, wherever it took me to run 14 yards. And I got absolutely yard sailed head over feet, and I tell you, flying through the air going, this is just great. This is wonderful. But you know what? You hit the ground and you get up, and if you immediately get back into things, you move forward, but you keep it forever. And the next one was that same year, I was a backup, and Jamie Terrace got, this is a really kind of a feel-good story. Jamie Terrace got hurt, our starting center, so I had to go in. I'm terrified now. Like, we're in a dogfight in Hamilton. Damon Allen's our quarterback, the Hall of Fame quarterback to be. I'm some young kid playing center now. And back then, we didn't do all shotgun snaps. Some of it was under center, some of it was shotgun, and so you kind of had to listen in the huddle, but my head is spinning. Like, I am trying to center this veteran team to win a dogfight in Hamilton. And I'm playing pretty good. I'm out there. I don't have time to think. And we go down, and we're trying to win the game from the 3 or 4 yard line. And we're going to call a play. If we score, we win. And there was like 15 seconds left of the game. And Damon says, hut, and I snap it, and I thought he was under center, because I'm not even thinking, but he's back there. So when you snap it from under, you really give it, because they're going to take it. And the ball shoots like 20 yards in the air. Rainbow jumper, 15 yards behind Damon. He goes and scrambles, and he gets sacked, and we lose the game. And I remember thinking, there's my career. Like, it's over. I was a nobody rookie. I lose the game on Ash TV. I'll be done. And I remember how down in the dumps I was. And this is the power of teammates, the power of, here's Damon, who can sometimes be known as maybe not the nicest guy. I didn't know him very well, but here he is, Hall of Famer to be, and I think he's just going to tear a strip off me. Like, I ruined the game, and who am I? And I never forgot this moment. He walked up to the locker room, and he kind of shook my head, and he goes, hell of a game out there, rookie. You're going to have a hell of a career. And I never forgot that, because here I was thinking I was going to get cut 5 hours from now. Like, this is over. And here's a guy that had all the business of the world to tear me down, wrecking the game. And he was a teammate. Like you said, black, white, American, Canadian, Hall of Famer, rookie. We all were on the same field, and we fought with all we had, and we all are not perfect. And he knew in that moment, I was beating myself up. I didn't need a Hall of Famer to tell me I sucked also. And he reminded me I'm going to do all right. And I've never forgotten that. And I've taken that with me every time when I became an older player and there was young guys getting down on themselves. I realized, again, power of football, power of teammates, realizing you can help people believe in themselves right in that moment. And that was a moment I'll never forget.
That's an awesome story, man. Were you, so only keep you for a couple more minutes. Are you like, have you always been a speak? Like, have you always been the center of attention's not the way to vocal? Like, have you always been like a vocal leader, I guess, back when you played?
Yeah, I'm one of 6 kids. I got 4 older brothers. So I learned really early to be loud and relentless if I wanted to get my point across at the kitchen table. So I couldn't be quiet or I'd never get heard. So I think naturally I'd always been sort of pushing my way to get my voice heard. Center was a natural spot for me. I'm very comfortable speaking with people. I think I'm good at earning trust, but I like to work with people. This speaking side of things, it happened organically. I mean, with the Lions, we did a lot like most teams do. There's school programs. You kind of grow up speaking in schools, and I realized I liked it. And and then what happened was you'd have a parent see you or something, or you got asked to speak at a sports banquet, a high school teams banquet, and some dad running a business going, "Hey, can you come talk to my sales staff? Like, they need to hear this." And I remember going, "Okay, I don't know anything about business, but whatever." And that's where it kind of grew from. I didn't have a plan to do this, but you realized I have things to share that I guess have value. I like doing it. And so, the last decade's been very rewarding to me, having companies of all shapes and sizes and businesses want me to share stories and my insights and lessons. And I'm more than happy to do it. I mean, my real passion is still coaching. I coach high school football here in Vernon.
Yep.
I absolutely love it. But I'm able to take everything I keep learning while I'm speaking and bring it back to these kids, and always trying to make this sport bigger than the game, realizing it's a vessel to grow up and to learn things that are hard to learn elsewhere.
So I'm a very staunch advocate of the Canadian Football League the way it is. Am I okay with certain rule changes? Yeah, like if you look at it, we moved one of the best rule changes was moving the point after attempt, which was a nothing burger, back to the 32-yard line. And it was so good the NFL adopted it, never gave the CFL credit. I wouldn't expect them to. So I'm not against rule changes per se, but I'm against most of these rule changes that have come out. I really don't know what they're trying to achieve. A guy that was an outstanding Canadian, that all-star Grey Cup champion, public speaker, I wanted to pick your brain. What do you think of these rule changes that were, a little bit this year and then a whole bunch in 2027?
I don't like them. To your point, I think rules should be adjusted to improve the game, not to change the game. And there's a big difference between those two statements. You're always looking to how can we improve the game we have, not how do we change the game. And there's certain things that fundamentally change the game. Like you said, I mean, moving back the extra point, I mean, that's improving the performance of the game that we play. But these rules, from my perspective, with maybe not having all the information, but I played it a lot, I grew up around a lot, and I watched a lot, it's making it a different football game. And you and I both know it's making it closer to the American game. And here's been my argument since the beginning of time, because I love American football. I love Canadian football. They're different games, and they should be different games, so you can easily support both. What you don't need in this world is a bunch of versions of the same game, because then it becomes a hierarchy of best one, worst one, not very good, because it's all the same game. And we have this beautiful, unique style of football played in Canada, which lends itself to various types of athletes, and it gives you a different game to watch instead of one that is getting to be eerily similar to one that already exists. So I don't know why you try to move the product to something that already is successful when you already have a successful product that lives on its own. So I don't listen, I probably do understand what they're doing, and I think that's a dangerous road that doesn't lead to improvement from our side of the border.
Just seems to be a lot of doublespeak, too. It's like, we're not making any money. Only 2 teams make money, yet the salary cap goes up. You played in the CFL. It stands for cash flow low, okay? So if nobody's making money, how does the salary cap go up? Like, you know what I'm saying? It seems like we want scoring to go up. We've had scoring go up. Attendance is slowly going up. But we're going to move field goals, which would be a 35-yarder now will suddenly become a 50-yarder. How does that make scoring go up? It doesn't.
Yeah, I think the 2 questions that as a fan I would challenge to have a good answer for is, one, if you were to poll all the current fans that we have and poll people that aren't watching the games, is their biggest issue the actual play? Like, is the quality of play why they don't watch football? And is the lack of quality of play why a fan is going to say, that needs to get better with this game I watch? My gut instinct is going to say that has never been the issue. I don't think people say, It's terror. The football is hard to watch. It's boring. It has no excitement in it. I don't enjoy it. I've always thought the other argument is true. It's an exciting game of football. It's fun. It's easy for the fan. It has less downtime. It has more scoring opportunities. Special teams is always going to be a potential offensive play with the ball on the other side. Like there's every time a ball is going to snap, big play can happen. That is not the case down in the U.S. And the U.S. is a much more strategic, slow chess game. That's what that game is. There's great beauty in that, but it's not what we do. And so the other question to me, to your point, is how do these rule changes expect to increase viewership? When you say people want to watch something that's exciting, I've always thought that the issue with the CFL was they haven't poured enough into how to market what we have better, how to show pride in what we're good at. So tweaking the rules is basically outsourcing your job to saying the game is the problem. And I've never heard anyone, even that poo-poos the CFL, say the game is boring. It's the professional structure around it that I hear remarks about, and some of them I've never been able to argue back because I would agree with some things. Now look, I'm in BC. What our owners here what the Lions are doing is fantastic. Like, they are making it very hard to say I wouldn't go to that. It's a great environment. They're putting on great shows, and then the game supports that. Once you're in the stadium, you're like, this is a lot of fun, and the price point, I can't get this much sports value for this dollar. It's fantastic. So again, I think it's a lazy way of blaming the game for your issues. When I've always seen the issues of, do we have people with the ability and the want and the long-term thinking to put business strategies behind what is already very good so we can market it appropriately and cut the checks where it matters? Bring in the act around it. Like I've always said, the trouble with today's world is everything's accessible via your phone, right? So the downside is when we were kids, you supported your local team because 95% of the news that you heard about was local news, local sports. And so the only people you could get to know were your local athletes. Those are the ones that run the interviews every night. And you'd get a few syndicated things from the NFL or the NBA, but it dominated. The newspapers were all local headlining. Now, with your app, you can follow someone inside with the Dallas Cowboys better than you can from the BC Lions, because that's just accessibility now. Yep. So to me, yes, you got to win the TV audience because there's the ads campaign, but you got to make the in-game experience more than football, because that's the truth. And you got to make it so good that the kids go, Dad, I want to go back to this. This was awesome. Yep. Okay, let's go. And that's what the NFL has done for years. The whole day is a show, and they're great at, because let's be honest, I love the NFL. It's pretty boring. If you're just a lay fan, if you understand the details of football, there's a lot of great things going on in the game, and the athleticism is incredible. But if someone goes, I don't understand football, well, watch this. Okay, what's going on? They're just standing around the whole time. But they understand to wrap it around a show, because they know much more than 50% of your fans that pay money just want great entertainment for their dollar. That's what they want, right? So if I'm going to go to a game of CFL, I don't care. Well, the fact you move downs or field going, now this is awesome. It's probably going to be more boring because they didn't understand football anyways. You got to put your money into, why am I driving down and parking here and spending 4 hours with my kids and family for this? Because look at what we're bringing for you. You cannot get this on an app. You can't get this on your phone. This is connecting with 30, 40,000 other people, building a memory that you'll never forget. That's awesome. And the game's a lot of fun. Awesome. And I'll go back to this. I've always thought that's where your thinking needs to go, but it looks like they're blaming the game. And I think that's a very weak argument that doesn't have a lot of backing if you were to actually talk to people that have been following this sport for a long time. And the ones that aren't. That casually, I've never heard them say, well, the game's really boring, that's why I don't watch. I've heard other arguments, but I don't hear that one very often.
Hey, you mentioned polling. How often do you get Angus Reid poll? How often do you get that?
I used to get it a lot, and it's funny. I think we're the only two Angus Reids in Canada, and we're both in Vancouver. I tell you, there's been one really funny story. The other one time I got a message by SFU where I went to university that I was receiving an honorary doctorate degree. I'm like, this is pretty cool, honorary doctorate. Okay. I'm like, wow, I'm getting an honor. And I'm still playing. I'm getting a doctorate. I don't know what I did, and they asked me, can I send like updated photo of me for the, and so I sent off, and they sent back, they're like, apologies, sir, aren't you much older than this? I'm like, well, I take offense to this. Then I started figuring out they I was the wrong. I'm like, I'm showing up for this doctorate, man. There's no way. But then I would sometimes I'd get, the Angus Reid poll would call at 6 o'clock at night, and I'd do it. I'd say, sure, yeah, I'll do it. So can we get your name, sir? Angus Reid. And you'd see a little hesitation on this side, right? Like big boss man, you called the boss of the company. But I met him a few years ago. We've had a lot of fun, but it's it's always been fun.
Because you are, when you enter a room, people know you're there because of your great speaking ability. And Angus is a name that stands out. Angus Reid, Angus Young. There's only two Anguses I know.
One of my brothers' name's Malcolm, and my parents don't even know who AC/DC is, so go figure. Hey?
That's awesome. Hey, last one for you. You got all those books behind you, as I see there, and the people see. Is there a favorite one there on that shelf that you've read?
Oh, there's too many. There's too many. But for football coaches, football fans, coaches, if you're like a real football-y book, this Bill Walsh one, The Score Takes Care of Itself. If you're into coaching football at any age group, I think that's one I revisit a lot from my coaching. It's basically his philosophy of we don't look about winning and losing. We focus on doing things right all the time, no matter what, and things take care of itself. It's look, there's a million. I love the Nick Saban. I have a bazillion books. I read everything. But that one's one, if you're a coach and you're really ambitious, which I think most are, it's nice to pause and reflect saying, what you got to care most about is how you decide you want to act and behave in everything you do. And success flows from there first. And forget the end. End. Focus on the next step, doing it as well as possibly can, and that kind of stuff.
So this would be a cool night, March 21st in Moose Jaw, and because you're still coaching high school football, so it's not like you're in the game. You're not removed from the game. So that you're probably looking forward to.
I'm in this world, man. I'm right in. We won. We're provincial champs out here in BC, so proud champs. We coach them up. You know what? I say this almost. I'm shocked I say this, but now I'm proud to say it. I enjoy coaching youth more than I enjoyed playing ball. To coach kids and to see them progress and to see them develop and to see them become, as I said earlier, something they didn't think was possible over, a 2-year span or a 3-year span. You take a kid in 10th grade, and by the time they're grade 12, and you work with them. And, I think the greatest thing a coach can do is get someone to believe in themselves when they couldn't beforehand. And then it's fun, right? Then it's fun. And then when they finish, whether it's football or not, they go face the world knowing, I can do this. And that's really cool.
Yeah, that's good. And when I was coaching the young guys, like my son's team, but, being the father/coach, never really got wrapped up in championships with the Regina Minor football. Here's what it was. If little Angus wanted to play next year, then I did my job. That's a win. I win every year. If Angus goes next year and, I coached Angus, look, he's playing in the CFL. That's a win, right?
Big time. And that's what we do as coaches. Like, are we providing environments they want to come back to? Mm-hmm. We should make it the best 2 hours of their day. It should be something they look forward to, not dread. And you're right. That's the best win we can have. Do you want to keep? I want to keep playing. Awesome.
Yeah. So get your tickets anywhere. You go to the Sask Selects website, anywhere on their social media, and you can get the tickets there. It's going to be a great March 21st. This guy's coming in. Grey Cup champ, outstanding all-star, and all-star speaker to Angus Reid, not Angus Young. Thanks for guessing with me, man.
We'll see you next weekend.